The Smart Career platform features 5 tools within it. The flagship feature is the Resume tool, which at the University of Melbourne we call Smart Resume. Smart Resume provides you with instantaneous machine learning and artificial intelligence-driven feedback on your resume that is uploaded in PDF format. You'll see in this view that a resume has been loaded in and it's received a score of 44 out of 100, which puts it in the on-track zone. You'll also notice that underneath, this resume has been benchmarked against the Melbourne Arts undergraduate and diploma community. This is one of 10 benchmarks within the system to ensure that you're getting tailored feedback based on what your area of study is. You'll also notice that up at the top here, we see that there are 9 resume uploads left. So each user is permitted 10 uploads, so it's important that you make careful use of your 10 uploads within the system. So once you have uploaded your resume, it's a matter of looking at the detailed feedback to see what you need to do to improve. And the idea being that you would edit your resume offline and then re-upload until you get a really solid score that you're happy with. To get a good job, you need to get a score of more than 85 out of 100, which is very difficult, but to reach that is a wonderful goal as it ensures that you have a perfect default resume that is ready for tailoring for a particular job application opportunity. So, we'll see that the scoring breakdown is combined up to 100, impact out of 40, presentation or layout out of 30, and competencies, how well you articulate transferable skills, out of 30. Let's have a look at the view detailed feedback. So we see in this summary page that there are 4 different sections within impact, there are 5 within presentation, and there are 5 within competencies. If we hover our mouse over each of these, it gives us a bit of a description in terms of what the system is looking for in each of these checks. However, more importantly, we can see detailed feedback for each of these areas, and over here we can see how this system is gamified in terms of giving you hints on how you can acquire more points quite easily. So we can see here that by actually showcasing more competencies, including more experiences on the resume, we can get up to 18 points more for the competency section, which would then increase the competency score from 9 to 27 and would therefore increase the overall score of the resume by 18 points. So if we view detailed feedback, impact is talking about how to create an impact using strong actions, using the right content in different sections, having tangible specific outcomes, and using well-structured bullet points. And we can see here that under each of the presentation checks, the resume is loaded on the right-hand side, and if we're focused here on action-oriented, it tells us that we're on track. We've done a good job at using action-oriented verbs in the areas highlighted in green, but there's areas for improvement in terms of what's highlighted in orange. And if you hover your mouse over anything that's highlighted in orange or red, the system will give you tailored specific feedback in terms of how you can tweak and edit the resume in order to get a higher score and satisfy this presentation check. Similarly, with specifics, this area needs work, and we can see that we've successfully included some detail and specifics in terms of numbers, mentioning clubs, mentioning a level of skill that you've got, such as intermediate, but there are certainly more examples that we can use to demonstrate specifics and detail on our resume. Overusage looks to see if you've used any particular word too many times within your 1 or 2 page resume, but in this resume we have not used any words too much. If you do overuse a word, it will highlight what that word is and highlight on the resume on the right-hand side all the instances of where that word pops up. And lastly, avoided words. This looks for filler words that you should try to get rid of. However, the system does pick up on the word the as a filler word, but just bear in mind that you should ignore this because it's perfectly reasonable to use the word the. But other filler words that it might pick up are definitely worth looking into. And for each of these sections, you can also click Insights to actually give you more information in terms of what is used in the benchmark community that you're part of, and such as the top filler words used by the community that should be avoided. And it also gives you the recruiter's view on avoided words and some statistics regarding your benchmark. And then it also gives you some examples in terms of formatting. Now, if we go over to presentation, if you toggle to it, then it will give you some overall tips in terms of what you need to work on. But then if we go in here, we can see number of pages has been satisfied. So this is 1 or 2 or 3 pages, depending on the benchmark. Essential sections, this has been satisfied. So we've included all the sections that the Smart Resume tool is looking for. Overall format needs some work in terms of color consistency, the formatting of dates to ensure that's consistent, and section spacing. There's a little bit more space here than there are between other sections on the resume. Section specific looks to see if in each section you've satisfied some certain presentation checks, such as including a LinkedIn URL, making sure that the font size of the name at the very top is larger than the rest of the content in the resume. And lastly, there is a spell check feature that works within the tool, and it will highlight where you may have misspelt a word in the resume that it's worth double checking. And you'll also see that as you go through the detailed feedback, sometimes an orange eye icon will appear. And this again reflects the gamified nature of the system, where it says that if you satisfy this presentation check and if you do what the system's telling you to do, then you get 15 bonus points straight away. So it's very worthwhile being very careful and addressing all the feedback that the system gives you to make the most of your next resume upload. Lastly, Competencies looks at 5 transferable skills that you need to be able to demonstrate in your resume. These are transferable skills that are more or less looked for regardless of occupation and industry. These include analytical skills, for which we're on track, and highlighted over here is instances where we've been able to articulate some of our analytical skills. Communication skills are on track. Leadership skills need a bit of work. We've only got one bullet point here that reflects leadership, and that's overseeing rostering. Teamwork is on track, but we could do a bit more there. And initiative is this last one, which needs a bit of work as well. And again, if you're unsure about any of these transferable skills, then there's a bit of an information here that explains it. You can also click into Insights to give you more examples and description in terms of what you need to do to satisfy this requirement. Lastly, in looking at resume feedback, you can also go to targeted feedback, which gives you the top tips that you need to be mindful of while you're editing your resume offline to make the most of your next upload. So we can see here that it's got some top targeted feedback in terms of education and qualifications, work experience, key skills, extracurricular activity. So it's definitely worthwhile looking at the targeted feedback in tandem with system feedback, as then you can get a really holistic view of what tips the system can provide you in terms of improving your resume performance.